and then shared with the family of the victim, Damon, that they will go ahead and release details from those transcripts. So we're waiting on those right now. But the other problem is that officers went door to door in that South Minneapolis neighborhood looking for any type of video footage that they could find. And so far, from what we've been told by investigators, no one has any footage of any kind. So sometimes people have security cameras on their home. Not the case, it sounds like, in this neighborhood. It is an affluent neighborhood of South Minneapolis. Some witnesses have come forward. We do know that, but nobody pulled out a cell phone from what it sounds like. So at this point, there are no additional details except for witness sound and also those 911 transcripts that we're waiting on.
What about Officer Noor? Do we know any more about his background?
So the interesting thing about Officer Noor, when it comes to the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, is that he has not come forward to be interviewed just yet. And that's interesting because the state cannot compel him to come forward. He doesn't have to come forward. He doesn't have to say anything. They hope that he does. The interesting thing about him, too, is that he's part of the Somali American community here in Minneapolis. When he joined the police department back in 2015, it was very widely celebrated that a Somali American joined the police department. At that point in time, they were having a lot of issues within the Somali American community, being very distrustful of law enforcement. Of course, this is a community in Minneapolis that has been targeted heavily by ISIS recruiters, and so they really needed to bridge that gap and have law enforcement be more active within a lot of these communities. So when he got hired onto the department, everybody celebrated. We talked to a number of young people who said he was really a mentor within the community. He showed up at a lot of soccer games with youth, talked to them about potentially joining the police department themselves and getting involved in the community, being positive and active. So in that sense, we know that about him. We also know that he does have a son, from what we've been told by a number of people within the Somali American community. So he's a dad. He does have a business background as well. He went to Augsburg College, which is a private college here in Minneapolis, and got a degree in business and did study that and participated in, it sounds like, real estate for a short period of time before joining the police department. But as for the investigation itself, of course, authorities want to talk to him and find out exactly what happened. They've talked to his partner at this point, but they do not have to compel him again to come forward.
Jamie, you mentioned how proud the Somali American community was when he was hired by the force. How are they reacting now?
You know, Anne Marie, they're very scared. I have to tell you, this is a community that has faced a lot of backlash over a number of years here in Minneapolis, especially they were targeted initially by the terror group Al-Shabaab. A number of youth from the community here went over to Somalia and joined that terrorist group. Then when ISIS started to form, a number of people were recruited again here in Minneapolis and went over to fight for ISIS in a number of countries overseas. They got training in Syria. There have been terror trials here. So there's a lot of skepticism around the community. A lot of people fearful of Somali Americans. So there's been a lot, a lot of programs that have come out where they really try to debunk the fact that Somali Americans are all joining ISIS. They really felt like they were kind of turning a corner. There had been a terrorism task force that was developed under the Obama administration that has since been dismantled with a new U.S. attorney here in the state of Minnesota. So they felt like that this officer who shot Ms. Damon